is a means of exchange. And there have been many types or many items that have represented money. And they are also called currencies. But when a currency has intrinsic value, then it can be called money. When it doesn't, it's called fiat currency because it's really enforced to use. When money has no value, which becomes a fiat currency, it is actually enforced to be used because people don't want to use it. So what can be used, what has been used as money? Cattle, cowrie shells, which I guess they didn't have much value, but they were used for a very long time, one of the longer times that an item has been used as money. Metal, as base metal, like I guess iron and lead. Also, precious metals have been used as money. Paper, that in China, in the about the years, I think was 800s, that they started using a type of paper money. Then in the 1800s, gold started being used as the standard for money in England, and in 1900 in the United States. Now, the last money that we had, because it had value, because it was pegged to gold, that gold is normally desired because it has value as a decoration and for its properties, and is also used in industrial situations. But the last time was in 1945, after the Second World War, when there was an agreement called the Bretton Woods, and the United States, which was the only country that after the Second World War, it was prosperous because the other countries were destroyed because the war was fought in their lands. Then the United States took advantage of that, and they proposed the dollar to be used as the worldwide currency backed by gold. So that became the proper money to be used up to August 15, 1971, when Richard Nixon came on TV and decoupled the value of the dollar from the gold. So from that moment on, the United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, and all the central banks started controlling their own currency, fiat currency, because it had no value, none of them, but they were forced to be used by the citizens of those countries in which those central banks rule. So when the money has no value, then it's difficult to trust, and people do not trust each other with fiat money. It's easier to be trusted with real money, with gold, silver, and other items that have intrinsic value. But a paper with a picture of a past president, and that the only value that it has is the creation of that picture and maybe the piece of paper and ink, it really doesn't have much intrinsic value, but it works because we accept it. That's the only reason, and because it is also enforced to use as payment of debt, and governments enforce the use of it. So that's the reason we accept it, and for that reason it works. Now, banks are the ones that take most advantage of it, because the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air. They don't have an account where they deposit their money. It does not exist. They don't need an account because they have magic powers. They can create money out of thin air. They just imagine a number and put it in a computer system, and now it represents money, it represents fiat currency, and they normally give it to government in exchange for an IOU, so the government can take care of the projects that they are offered the people to get the votes. So that's how it works. And banks have the benefit of being able to multiply that money, because in a similar way than the Federal Reserve, the banks have magic powers. They use a system called fractional reserve banking, and they loan with a system that is called fractional reserve lending. And that means that they don't have to keep sufficient reserves for the amount of money that is deposited in the vaults. They just keep a small percentage that could be 10% or less. So when we as citizens and enablers of this system, this fiat current system, we need money to buy a property, to buy a house, or to buy a car. We go to a bank and ask for a loan. So by doing that, we are complicit. We're an accomplice of that system, because if we don't ask for a loan, then the bank doesn't have a reason to multiply the money, doesn't have a reason to put a number in a computer and call it a loan and start charging us interest for that money that they just put, they just made an entry in that computer. So we are accomplice of that system. Keep that in mind. Now, banking is the most powerful business in the world. Without it, all the economies will stop in a screeching halt. Nelson Nash used to say that everybody should be in two businesses. The business of what they know, how to make money, how to create an income, and banking, being banking the stronger of the two. So why? Because banking is a very powerful business, and banks have so much money, they are so rich because they were able to manage that thousands, millions of people run all their money through their system. So that should give you an idea the benefit that you will get when you are able to build a system and control it to run most of your money. Because when you make a payment, how many more times can you use that money? That was the end of it. You cannot use that money anymore. The financing company, which is the one that we normally make a payment to, is the one that is going to benefit of the work that that money can produce while it is under their control. And when we make a payment to a business, well, that business doesn't keep the money in their vaults. They deposit the money in their bank. So bankers, I call them banksters, are the ones that benefit from the work that the money can produce. And I call them banksters because they don't need to use fractional reserve banking or fractional reserve lending. That is immoral. That is fraudulent. If I do that, if I get a $100 bill and multiply it, put it in a good printer, and make a lot of $100 bills out of my $100 bill, and cut it neatly, and then go spending it, the moment they find out that I did that, I'm taken to jail. But But how many times have you been banksters in jail? They are allowed to do that. They were given the permission by governments to do that because they help governments to spend money. They help governments to spend money on the projects that they offer the people to get their votes. That's how they stay in power. So it's kind of an interesting system. But since I mentioned that it will benefit you greatly to create and control a system in which you can deposit most of your money, then I will recommend you to learn about the infinite banking concept. And I can help you create that solution for you, that platform, that system where you can practice that process. It uses an especially designed dividend-paying whole life insurance contract with a mutual company. And we use banking strategies. So that's the process of the infinite banking concept. And I am a certified, authorized practitioner of the infinite banking concept, and I can build one of those solutions for you. So if you're interested, you should get the book Becoming Your Own Banker, written by Nelson Nash. You can get it in their website, infinitebanking.org. You can get it on Amazon, or I can also sell it to you. I'm a student of Nelson. I get those books in bulk. So if you're interested, contact me at jorgeeherrera.com, and I'll share with you what I have learned since 2005 when I bumped into this marvelous system, and I will be able to set this solution for you. So contact me at jorgeeherrera.com and we'll have a conversation. Till next time.